Stellar Blade creators have a new game in development. PSSR is getting a huge update that could be absolutely massive for the future of PlayStation. And lastly, we'll be talking about a Horizon 3 rumor. All that and more in today's video. Please like the video, subscribe to never miss a gaming update, and share the video to help grow our community. We'll also be going over comment of the day. If you want to be featured in the next video, consider leaving a comment and you may be chosen. Now let's jump into the Shift Up update, right? So this comes from Genki over on X. It says Shift Up say they plan to start to reveal their new game, Project Witches, by the end of June. The game is targeted to launch in 2027, so a few years away. It's going to be a cross-platform next-gen project, is what it's described as. And so I'm assuming as soon as I hear something like that, that it's likely going to be PC, PlayStation, potentially Nintendo, and maybe even Xbox, depending on what happens with their hardware, as that's kind of up in the air right now. As far as this game goes, there's not much to talk about other than that, right? It's just called Project Witches, and that's what they've told us. There's really nothing else there. But they did accidentally leak that their game is being ported to PC. That's Stellar Blade being ported to PC for June 11th this year. So really exciting stuff there. I believe 25 new costumes and another boss that we have not seen before. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Shift Up is a pretty good developer. I actually really liked Stellar Blade quite a lot. To me, I'd rate it an 8.5 out of 10 probably. It was a very enjoyable experience. Gameplay was good. It had a solid foundation. Narrative needed a little more work, I think. The ending was really good, but kind of leading up to that last quarter of the game was a little weak in my opinion. And I feel like it being their first game, it wasn't bad. And I think that them looking at their next title, they could definitely build on top of what they've already made and make it even better. Something I like to reference is usually when we look at Assassin's Creed 1 was considered a huge disappointment, but then Assassin's Creed 2 came and they really built on the foundation that they had and created something amazing. Shift Up's Stellar Blade was actually a good game, so I imagine their next game, they could build on that and make it even better than they had with Stellar Blade. But let me know what you guys are thinking about Shift Up's next project. Are you interested in Project Witches? And where do you think we could be seeing this game?
Times, it's always safe to bet on human survival instinct.
Next, we're talking about PSSR, and it's getting a pretty big update. According to a known insider, the update is substantial enough to be dubbed PSSR 2 and includes support for 4K at 120 FPS locked. So YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead, who is most known for accurately leaking PS5 Pro and internal Sony documentation with the console specs. Yes, this was actually confirmed. He did do this. We know that for sure, so he's got sources. Well, according to what the leaker has seen, Sony is not aiming only for 4K at 120 FPS, but also 8K at 60 FPS. The company is also allegedly adding support for more resolutions to PSSR, including 1440p and 1080p. This PSSR update will reportedly be capable of upscaling from lower resolutions than it does now. We're talking upscaling from 720p, 540p, and even 360p. On the dev side, Sony plans to make the tech easier to work with and will make it more lightweight so that game performance isn't compromised. Now, he also does state that they may not make a formal announcement about that because a lot of these updates happen behind the scenes. So here's the thing. I think that this is great. This is fantastic. What's being said here is interesting to me. I think that the idea of 8K at 60 FPS is probably not going to be like your typical AAA games. I would be very surprised about that. I think 4K at 120 FPS also sounds absolutely ridiculous as far as a real target for AAA games. I think these are just general statements as far as what we could see from PSSR in the future. As far as, AAA games go, I would love to see 4K at 60. I'm not really hoping for 4K at 120 or 8K at 60 FPS. This kind of tech is likely not going to be giving you those results unless the PS6 is just a powerhouse, and even then it's questionable. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's very interesting. These discussions are interesting, but it's important to manage expectations. Just be realistic. Yes, could it do a game or two or whatever game at 8K 60? Sure. Is it going to do that often? Probably not. Is it even going to do that often with 4K 120? Probably not. But I guess we'll see what happens in the future. But if it does, that would be awesome. But I'm just trying to be realistic here. Let me know what you guys think of this PSSR update and what you're hoping to see. Next, we're talking about Horizon 3. This is a rumor coming from TCMF Games, and I saw this kind of cycling over on the journalist websites, and I was intrigued. I was first confused because I didn't know that there was a major leak or rumor going around until it was sent to me by one of you guys in the community. And then I tracked down the original source and I see that it was TCMF Games, which I'm not familiar with as far as being a leaker of sorts. So I'm gonna say take this one with a grain of salt. With all due respect, I mean we need to have a solid track record before we can like look at it as a very viable rumor, right? So we're going to talk about it because it is rotating, but basically he's saying Horizon 3 is currently in development at Guerrilla Games, set to potentially launch in 2027, could potentially be a cross-gen title with PS5, PS6 launch. The story looks set to focus around Nemesis as teased by the second game. Horizon, the online game, is set next to release before Horizon 3. So we have the statement that Horizon 3 is going to come after in 2027, but prior to that, we'll get Horizon's online game, which I believe is a possibility for sure. I do think it's definitely in development at Guerrilla. I don't think that's a surprise. I think a 2027 release would be pretty surprising, at least for me. I think that maybe it'd be a great launch title for PS6, and which I believe is supposed to be slated for 2028. But there's a lot of potentially in here, right? There's a lot of potential as far as statements go, which to me is a lot of gray area and uncertainty in this rumor, right? So I think we got to take that as it is, right? It's a rumor. I mean, the idea that it's going to be focused around Nemesis is pretty straightforward. If you played the Forbidden West game, that seems like what they were alluding to. So again, not really groundbreaking here as far as, you know, the information goes. And again, no disrespect to the source, but just looking at it objectively as far as what we look for in what would be alleged leaks, we want something a little more certain, right? Not so much uncertainty within that. But I expect to see Horizon 3 in the coming years, for sure. This is obviously one of Sony's babies, right? They love the IP. They are definitely going to keep fostering new games for this. They seem to never have a lack of interest in putting resources into the Horizon IP. So I fully expect them to do a Horizon 3, which I actually loved Horizon Forbidden West. So super excited about this and looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think of this Horizon 3 rumor / leak, whatever you want to call it, and what you're hoping to see come from Horizon 3. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about comment of the day. Guys, comment of the day comes from @SwayShow, who says, live service is all I need to hear to not give a damn about this studio. So, mind you, there were comments that felt the opposite. They felt that they wanted to see what Team LFG was doing, which is great. I think that whether you love live service games or you don't love live service games, I think your opinions are valid. And I do think that we do need Sony to have very successful live service games in order to stay afloat and in order to find great success in the industry, right? They don't want to rely on Call of Duties and Fortnites and all these kind of games to carry them, because if they have their own live service game, then it could pay dividends in a major way, like we saw with Helldivers 2. So I think that Sony's still going to chase this. As long as they are providing single-player games, which they are at the moment, they are still providing single-player. We got Death Stranding 2 this year, Ghost of Yotei this year, right? They're still providing that. I think it's totally fine. I think it's okay for them to pursue that as long as their portfolio is not majority live service titles. But my biggest issue with this entire topic, or what we were discussing in our last video, is it was met with such interesting comments, whether it was negative, whether it was positive, whether it was indifference. And the biggest things I noticed was that people are quite sensitive about any criticism to PlayStation. Look, we are a PlayStation community over here. I understand that. But because we are a PlayStation community, I think it's important to keep them accountable and ask for the best from them, right? It's very easy for us to get lost in it and just be like, yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, Team LFG, let's go. You know, like getting excited over anything and everything they throw at us. But is that really productive to the conversation? I had people telling me I need to educate myself because Team LFG was going to boost stock prices. Like, that is just not how stocks work. And Team LFG is not going to increase Sony's stock price. It just isn't. You got to provide something major, or it's got to be a significant announcement to really get people so excited and investors excited. I think that it's beyond that. And I think a trailer, as I asked for, would be better at doing that than just a simple announcement. And even then, I don't think Team LFG was really going to move the needle on stock prices. So this is a strange comment that I got there. But generally speaking, looking at Sway Show, I know you're saying that you are not interested in live service titles, which is totally fair. And it was the most liked comment on the video by 3 times, by the way. So it's clear that a lot of the community feels that way. But I also think it's important that we have live service titles in a healthy dose, not something that dominates the portfolio. But I really appreciate the comment. Let me know what you guys think. Do we need live service titles from PlayStation? Do you think we should have them? Or would you rather Sony just not do them at all? And do you think that PlayStation can maintain its dominance without putting any effort into the live service game? As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share the video to help grow our community. I thank you all for watching. Take care.